we've got your Raiders covered.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome and good evening from the studios of CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas. You are on a Tuesday night in Raider Nation, a night just a few days after the Raiders' second consecutive blowout loss, this time in their House of Horrors since 2012, Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs pounded the Silver and Black in a decisive 40-9 victory over the now 6-6 Raiders. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 as we bring you the most comprehensive coverage of the Raiders in Las Vegas, both on Sunday mornings with the Silver and Black Today from 8 to 10 a.m., and now on Tuesday nights as well, 6 to 7 p.m. It's time for primetime review of the massacre that was Chiefs versus Raiders this past Sunday. I am your host, Scott Gobranson, joined by Chaz Osborne.
Hello.
And for the next hour, we'll break down the week that was in Raiders football, focusing on analyzing, exploring, and debating the Raiders' lopsided loss to the hated Chiefs. We'll include insightful looks at key plays and moments of the game. We'll also preview the game against the Titans on Sunday and take your phone calls. That's right. You can call in. Vent. I know there's a lot of anger out there. Vent. 702-889-5978. That's 702-889-5978. We get great callers, so pick up the phone, Raider Nation, and give us a ring. Let's get you up to speed on the game that was. But first, we want to, again, send out, Chaz, our condolences to Raider great George Atkinson, as his son, George Atkinson III, passed away this week. And he lost both sons this year in 2019.
Yeah.
Just terrible news.
Tough story. Yeah, that's just one of those things with the you just can't understand what's going on in their mind, and it's just it's really tragic. Thoughts and prayers for sure. We're all here with you and for you.
Yeah, it's terrible news. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Atkinson family, and of course, all Raiders and the Raider organization. Okay, let's get you up to speed again on the game. The Raiders headed into Kansas City for the biggest game in over 3 seasons, with possible lead in the AFC West on the line. This young Raiders team had won 3 of 4 coming off a throttling in New York last week. How would the Silver and Black respond? How would quarterback Derek Carr respond to his critics and the stats saying he struggled not only in cold weather, but in Kansas City? Let's dive in. All right, scoreless in the first quarter, Derek Carr drops back to pass, and the day's mood was set as the ghosts of Arrowhead haunt number 4 again.
2nd and 12. And that's picked off. That is right into the hands of Tyrann Mathieu.
And Carr's miscue proves costly for the Raiders as Pat Mahomes takes the field position, marches down into the red zone, where the quarterback finds running back Darrell Williams for a touchdown.
From just outside the 3, over to Darrell Williams. There's a flag out as he finds the pylon for the touchdown.
On the ensuing kickoff, the Raiders waited for the kick with Trevor Davis deep for Oakland when the boogeyman again reared his ugly head.
Short kick into the wind. Davis. Ball's on the ground, and it is recovered. Looked like O'Daniel was there for the recovery, and he is.
Now, despite the poor start, including 2 turnovers and an avalanche of early penalties, the Raiders' defense, the unheralded group on this day, kept it close at 7-0. Moving the ball, the Raiders' offense stalls again and faces a crucial early 4th and 1 from the Kansas City 40-yard line. That's when Carr swung a short pass to Davis, who again couldn't get it done.
There's not a lot of stuff.
Oh, they hand it off to Davis. And the Chiefs never let him get anywhere.
Then the reigning MVP, Mahomes, led the Chiefs on a 6-minute drive to Raiders territory, where Mahomes and his fresh off the bye week legs find pay dirt, increasing the Kansas City lead with just over 3 minutes left in the first half.
Looking, wide open field. Wide open for Mahomes. He high steps it in for the touchdown.
Then perhaps the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back on second down from their own 40-yard line. Carr dropped back to pass, and that's when Chiefs safety Juan Thornhill again haunted Carr with a back-breaking pick six.
Starting to figure out his system. with each passing week. And here we go, the defense with the steal and the run back. It's Thornhill, the rookie, for his first NFL touchdown on the pick six.
Still, despite the outright terrible start on offense, the Carr interceptions and penalties, the Raiders get the ball before the end of the first half with a chance to put points on the board after their drive stalled just outside the KC red zone. The Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson lined up to attempt a 41-yard field goal.
44 yards. Oh, my goodness.
And that's about all you want to hear of that kick. The Raiders would never recover in the second half as their slim playoff hopes took a big hit on the frozen turf of Arrowhead, with fans and the team searching for answers on how to get their offense back in gear. How bad of a day was it for Derek Carr and the offense? Besides the stellar play of Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, the Raiders went 10 quarters between touchdowns after ending the drought in garbage time, finished the day with more offensive yards than the Chiefs, but making it into the Kansas City red zone, Chaz, just 3 times the entire game.
Tough.
Carr is now 0-6 in games in Arrowhead and just 2-10 in his career versus the Chiefs. The Raiders continue to struggle with focus as they are penalized 12 times for 99 yards, while the Chiefs had 0 penalties in a game for the first time since 1974. Oakland had 3 turnovers on the day to KC's 0, and shrink in the biggest game that matters in 2019. Rookie running back Josh Jacobs, a lock for Offensive Rookie in the Year in my mind, finishes the day with 17 carries and 104 yards, pushing him over the 1,000-yard mark with 4 games remaining in the season. Other offensive highlights: Darren Waller caught 7 passes for 100 yards. Defensive Rookie sensation Max Crosby continued his ascension, another good day, notching 4 tackles. And Mo Hurst recording the Raiders' only sack on the day. The Raiders now face a tough task, Chaz, of having most likely to win their final 4 games of the season to have a shot at a wildcard spot in the AFC, which includes 2 games in Oakland and 2 on the road in both Los Angeles against the hapless Chargers and the Broncos in a frozen Mile High Stadium. All right, Chaz, so tough game. Another blowout, back-to-back blowouts. Raider Nation is again struggling and fighting amongst itself.
Well, it's 2 tough games on the road and the weather. It's not easy at this time of the season with a young team. You really got to give them credit for fighting. I said after the Jets game, you could see during the game they were kind of, their heads were down and they were kind of giving that shoulder shrug. This game, they kept fighting. Give credit to those guys. They came out, and you heard Josh Jacobs say after that pick six, that was kind of the gut shot, and they all kind of went into the locker room at halftime like, man, that was really it. But they came out in the second half, and it didn't look like it because of the score, but they still came out and competed hard, and they didn't quit. And that's the one thing you really hope for in a young team is they just keep playing hard.
No, I agree with that. I don't think they quit at all, and that, of course, is a positive, because when you have a young team, as you said, that is certainly true. Yeah. Now, let's listen to John Gruden had his press conference yesterday, of course. So you have a day to kind of think about the post game press conference. Everybody hears that, and you kind of think what's going on. But here's what Gruden had to say. So they asked him about the game. So Trent, this is clip number 9.
Disappointed in the outcome. I thought the guys played very hard. The penalties, the turnovers. That goes on me. Got to do a much better job, but I'll answer any questions that I can. Well, I've got to do a better job. We've got to do a better job getting them better looks and getting them involved in the game, no question. So I put that on myself. I think we've got good young receivers. We might shake it up a little bit, give some other guys some more opportunities this week, but we'll study the Titans and see what goes. Yeah, we just did address it again today. Pre-snap, post-snap, pre-snap penalties, and after the whistle penalties, that's a reflection of me. And I'm not going to stand for that. We're not going to stand for that. Our players don't stand for that. We've got to do a much better job. And it's clearly 12 penalties to none. I've never heard of that stat before. Like I said, it's a reflection of me, and we're going to get better at that.
Yeah, well, there was that one penalty on Kansas City, that first touchdown that you just talked about, and there was a flag on Kelsey for kind of a pick play. But they got together, talked about it, and picked the flag up. So there it was. But everybody's talking about what the Honey Badger said, that he picked up tendencies from Carr, and the coach said it right there. They haven't changed up formations.
Well, Chaz, hold that thought, because we're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll pick it right up where you left it, because I think you're right. I think it's important to talk about. All right, you are listening to the Silver and Black tonight. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll continue that conversation. We'll also hear Gruden about the weather, and we'll hear from Derek Carr and talk about what I call the Derek Conundrum. You're listening to the Silver and Black tonight here on CBS Sports Radio.
matter, Broadcasters Association and this station.
CBS Sports Radio.
Sound off with Silver and Black tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas. We're talking about the game that was Sunday in Kansas City. We left it with Chaz talking about the team not quitting and
well, we were talking about the
Chiefs.
We had the Gruden clip, and he was talking about the deficiencies, and everybody was talking. The Honey Badger said that he had picked up tendencies from Carr, and Coach said it there. And he said, it's partly his fault. They haven't changed up the formations. But, I say credit the Chiefs. Obviously Andy Reid isn't 18-3 after the bye just because he's lucky, They knew this was basically the game that puts them in the playoffs, having a 2-game lead in the division and the tiebreaker, which essentially makes it a 3-game lead with 4 to play.
Yeah, and Chaz, I agree. I mean, you look at the situation with Matthew and his comment after the game about knowing what Carr was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt in my mind that, look, Derek Carr doesn't lose games by himself. It's not his fault.
No.
I think that's where people go wrong is they say, well, if Derek Carr didn't do this, we would have won.
Right.
There were a lot of things that happened on Sunday.
A lot of things happened. It's the 2 interceptions that really, the pick six, just kind of the optics
14
of that.
points.
That's
14
huge.
points.
It's a huge switch. But, you're not talking about the Trevor Davis butt fumble and the Trevor Davis not getting that first down.
The first down, yeah.
There were so many little things that come involved. And like I said, credit the Chiefs. They had 2 weeks to prepare, and they were completely focused on this game because they knew this was basically the game that gets them in the playoffs.
No, that's true. But still, but you have to look at things. The weather, of course, all last week we heard Derek Carr can't win in the cold, right? So, and I said it on Sunday's show that I don't think Derek Carr could have won in this situation. The PR game here. What I mean by that is if he won, okay, fine. His doubters would still be his doubters.
Mm-hmm.
If he lost, you'd say, see, you told he can't play in the cold and he can't beat the Chiefs, which ended up being true. He can't play in the cold from the numbers.
Right. It's a small sample size. Like we talked about on the Sunday show, I think
what sample size do you need? You need 30 games?
You
need 30 games?
0-5 now. But, 2 of those
under
games
40.
2 of those games this season was the Philadelphia Eagles, their Super Bowl season, the Denver Broncos, their Super Bowl season, and now 3 times against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been formidable. They have Raider Week up there for a reason. They hate the Raiders. They get geared up for that game, and they make sure that when the Raiders are coming in, they're ready for it.
Okay, now, but we heard about the weather stuff.
Right.
We heard it's not a big deal. Derek Carr said himself. I take him at his word. I do. He does. He says it doesn't bother him, right?
He was zinging it. It didn't look like it bothered him.
Okay, so they asked Coach Gruden about the weather yesterday at the press conference, and here's what he had to say. This is clip number 10.
Yeah, I mean, the statistics, you're right. Yesterday was going to be a slugfest. It was going to be a tough game, I believe. It was going to be a close score. I mean, the weather conditions were difficult, very difficult. To throw the ball, period. To kick the ball, I think it was a big deal. The penalties and the turnovers, the hidden yardage, it's a huge statistic, and it's one that we're not good enough to overcome. But we did some good things on defense, and we expect that.
You heard Coach say it right there. It was very difficult to throw the ball. Period.
Whoa.
But it sounds like he's trying to exonerate Derek Carr.
Exactly. We were told all week. We were told by Derek Carr in the post-game press conference. Nah. Weather had nothing to do. I felt good. But then you have the coach saying, "Well, weather was tough. That made it tough." Well, which one was it? So I'm just confused, Chaz, because and I'm not. You know me, dude. I've defended Derek Carr forever. I'm not here to say they should get rid of Derek Carr. I'm just saying it doesn't line up.
Right.
So what is that about? What is that about?
It's not an excuse, but you're making it an excuse. So many more things go into it. He mentioned the penalties. The penalties have really been one of the headlines of the season, right? Those 4 of those penalties gave Chiefs first downs, and a couple of those were on 3rd and long. So there's so many factors go into it.
But let's listen to Derek Carr, because we just heard Coach Gruden talk about the weather and that fact that it was a factor. He said it was a factor in the game. He did. It made it difficult.
I understand, but from my point of view, it sounds like he's trying to exonerate Carr. Like he's giving Carr a pass.
Right.
Which he has Carr's back, which is great.
Well, yes,
that's good news for me. Maybe not the rest of Raider Nation. They don't want to hear that.
Yes and no, because I don't mind him covering or defending his quarterback. That's perfect. That's what a coach should do. Right? But using the weather? Okay, let's listen to, this is clip number 12, Trent. This is Derek Carr on the weather.
I threw the ball fine, felt great, If we don't have those 2 turnovers, we're very efficient, right? Ran the ball, threw the ball efficiently, when we had opportunities and things like that. But then you have 2 turnovers, and then they're like, oh, gosh, stats, right? I'm not into that, man. I think we handled it just fine. It wasn't a factor because I don't want to take anything away from the plays that they made, to be honest with you. They made 2 great plays. If it was 80 degrees or 30 degrees, it doesn't matter. Those 2 safeties made 2 great plays, and tip my hat to them.
Okay, so I don't understand something here. No problem with the weather from Derek Carr, he said. No.
Derek Carr's putting it on the safeties. He's putting it on the defense. He's putting it on the Chiefs, having a good game plan.
Correct. But he said there that, look, we were moving the ball. We were efficient. What's efficient about not scoring a touchdown in 10 quarters? No. Tell me what's efficient about not scoring a touchdown for 10 quarters.
Yeah, well,
wait. Do they, when you win a Super Bowl, do they say, man, that team was efficient?
Yes, every time.
Look, here's the deal.
One of the things in the beginning of the season they talked about, and it was kind of one of the bulletin points, was they were moving the ball, but they weren't finishing drives with points.
Right.
And it's just really been galvanized. It's been polarizing the last 2 weeks. Derek Carr isn't wrong. He was throwing the ball great. Go back and watch the film. For those conditions, it was a strong, tight spiral. But really, you have to give the Chiefs credit. The Honey Badger making a great play, and then the safety making another great play, diving in on that ball for that pick 6. They came out focused and determined to play a solid game, and they did.
No, they did. But again, Chaz, I'm confused because, look, I wrote a piece up on silverandblacktoday.com that you can go read that basically said, look, the Raiders are showing what they are, which is a team making progress on a rebuild.
Yes.
That's why they're a 500 team right now.
That's right.
Look, Vegas pegged them at 6.5 wins or less. They're almost going to surpass that. I think, in my view, and you might think it's pessimistic, I think they'll win 1 more game.
No.
I think they'll win 1 more game.
I think they got 2, 3 more in them. But I don't understand why with the Raider fans it's Armageddon or subjugation every other week. Right? I get upset, but you don't blow everything up after a couple of bad losses, and you certainly don't talk about the Super Bowl after 10 games.
No, and also, I mean, like you said, it's a young team, and I said in my piece on the website, silverandblacktoday.com, that look, this is what they are. The Raider fans should be happy. You already have improved 2 wins over last year after turning over your complete roster.
Right.
And the main reason why you have 6 wins is because of an amazing rookie class that everyone in Raider Nation should be excited about moving forward.
I agree. You know what? It's a complete season evaluation. I just don't understand why everybody's ready to throw it away. I worked in the front office for 14 years. Complete season evaluation. Of course, you have your in-season casualties like, Trevor Davis this week. But we're talking about the major players here. You evaluate the key positions and the major free agents at the end of the season. So now you're going to evaluate Derek Carr off of 2 late-season road games against good teams and difficult weather. I mean, what about the fourth quarter come-from-behind drives against the Bears and Chargers or the game-winning drive against Detroit? There's a lot to build off from this team. I said from the start of the